Hello everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is round number 6 of the Moja Extravaganza 2025. I decided to film the remainder of these videos at home just because of how chaotic the tournament was, and I needed a bit of a break after the tournament too because I fell sick, as did many players in fact. So after that, adrenaline just left our system. We were just fighting for our lives after that. I can't say that the rest of the tournament went as well as the first half, where I was 4 out of 5. But I definitely have some quality games to take a look at, and we'll be doing so without the engine. So let's jump straight into round number 6. In round 6, I played against a 1600 from South Africa named Sizakele Masango. And in fact, she is the same age as me. And haven't really seen her around in the chess scene, but she gave me a definite run for my money and also somehow put me in the worst bout of shock that I've had in my entire life. Right, so we can start d4, knight f6. Usually I play d5 in the first move, but I just wanted to shake things up. I used to play knight f6 all the time, bishop to g5, d5, and then an immediate commitment to taking this knight, doubling my pawns, but also giving me less of a chance to break in the center. So I decided to take with the e-pawn, even though taking with the g-pawn is just as good, aiming towards this e5 square. Just wanted to develop as quickly as possible. e3, bishop d6, very normal moves. I could have easily taken on c4, but waited a move, and after knight c3 I decided to take. And here after bishop takes, my plan is to castle, get my rook to the e file, and just try to find really good squares for my pieces. Maybe even play something like knight to d7, to b6, to d5, and so on. So let's take a look at what I did. Bishop takes c4, castles, and knight f3. And now I have this bishop g4 move, which is going to pin the knight temporarily. Of course, the bishop can always come back to e2, but also is going to allow my knight to move without blocking the bishop. So that's what I wanted to do and why I brought the bishop out first. h3, bishop h5, g4. Didn't really expect this level of aggression, especially because I was the one who had castled and my opponent hadn't castled yet. But I guess since I'd given up the control of the center, that this was not possible by my opponent. And now going after my bishop, I just played rook e8. There's nothing I can do about it. Takes. And now this gave me a bit of a chuckle because it looks like a domino. Or a domino. Okay, so queen c2. And the plan is probably simple here. You want to play h4, h5, and just wreak some havoc here on the king side. King f8. The reason for king f8 is because queen takes g6 is a threat. It's a free pawn. The pawn on f7 is being pinned. And queen to b3. Queen b3 is attacking the f7 pawn. It's also putting pressure on b7. She's played really, really solidly so far. All I have to do is try to maintain just some sort of solidity in the position. So that's why I played queen e7, which protects both flanks here on the king side and on the queen side, as well as putting pressure on this pawn to the uncastled king. And another thing that I can do next is probably play b5, a5 if I really wanted to. And that's exactly what I went for. I played a5 first, just to stop any ideas. Why did I play it here first? Because I wanted to play b5 with a tempo and then play a4 with a tempo as well. So a4, which just allows me the opportunity to grab onto this hook and play b5 eventually. An attack on the queen side. I think at this point this position is a little bit better for me. h4, and I just took the knight because I want b5, and I got b5. And here it was definitely difficult for me to calculate. I probably had to go in believing in my attack a little bit more, because maybe a4 is necessary here, queen to b2 or queen a2, and after captures, I might have rook c8 and I'm attacking this pawn. So in the case of queen to b2 instead, maybe I can just continue, actually. with the same idea, playing here and rook c8, and even though I'm a pawn down, I'm attacking, and that's what matters. Okay, and that's why she didn't take. She played bishop to d3 instead, and so I took queen takes and knight d7. Again, had to look at this, but I think it's nothing worth considering. Even if the queen maintains the attack on the rook, I have this with check, and I can always either double or bring my rook back, so I don't have to worry about that. Especially, well, this actually probably leads to checkmate, right? Because here and here, that's a mate. So a lot of things that white has to worry out for, and she was able to avoid that quite nicely. Just continued with h5. I didn't have to do anything immediately. I did at least still have this h6 move, but decided to push the pawn, and after h6, g6. And if h7, I can play king g7, and there's no promoting because I have two rooks guarding that square, and it should be fine, because even after queening takes, and king takes, I'm not going to take with the rook because I want my rook to protect the pawn. Check, king g7, and it should be okay for now. Right, so let's go back. So queen a2. Queen a2 is a very interesting move. I know you're avoiding knight b6, attacking the queen. Queen is also putting pressure on this diagonal. Yeah, ball was in my court. I need to decide what I wanted out of this position. And probably going for c5 was a good idea. I haven't looked at this game yet with an engine, but I think c5 was worth considering. We can probably both at some point pause this video and take a deep look at this. But c5 is interesting because if you ever push, you have ideas of bringing the knight in, and it also blocks this diagonal for the queen, so the queen's no longer attacking. Something else I was considering, what did I play? I played knight b6, which is probably not as effective. The point is I need to activate my pieces, push the pawns. If I push, I don't know if pushing here is all that good. Maybe it's okay, because I need to do something proactive here. I could easily also just go here, but I guess that's the point of queen a2. You want to stop the king from getting closer to the pawn. So knight b6, c4, and yeah, maybe my task here, once again, is quite easy. I need to block everything and play c5. I'm not so sure. I'm not sure at all. Yeah. Unclear. So a4, king, and this is very obvious, like you want to take the pawn. And I think I should have been, once again, a bit more proactive, playing moves like, I'm not entirely sure, maybe I should just push the rook or play queen to b4, something along these lines, because queen b4, I think, ends up just being better for white, maybe. Yeah. Once again, very difficult to analyze if you don't spend like copious amounts of time in the position. So once I got my pawn to a3, rook a1 was played, and queen a7. Probably not a great move, just because I needed to protect this pawn, yet I wasn't doing a great job at it because I put the queen in front of the rook. Maybe the rook should have been in front of the queen. But even so, use the extra moves I had to go and attack on the king side. We'd just pick up a pawn in exchange for this. So maybe queen d7 or something. But now my knight is hanging. So here, I just play king g8, hoping to catch the pawn on the h-file. And after rook to b3, I should have just sat and thought for a little bit. Maybe now would have been a good time to try and just, I don't know, maybe go here, queen c7, with the idea of if rook takes, you take it, and just go here. Because I was looking at trading, and it shouldn't be too bad, because after queen takes, and takes, I mean, I have king h7 picking up the pawn. And if not, then queen b2, takes, and I mean, my job is still very, very difficult, but all those squares are covered, so I can just go here and pick up the pawn. And if white wants to defend the pawn, then my queen is a bit more free to roam around. Now I have the a file. I can leave the pawn alone. My queen can just go ahead and poke some holes on the queen side. But I was very narrow-minded here and maybe freaked out a little bit, thinking I'm pinning the rook, everything's great, completely forgetting that queen takes a3 was possible. Not at all within like my abilities or, you know, the strength that I think I am, but it definitely gave me a wake-up call. Not playing it for 6 months is pretty rough, and losing my second game against someone who is lower rated than me gave me something to think about. And going into the African Championship next week, I have to dust myself off and pick myself up again, because it's not going to be an easy tournament. So far as the sort of starting ranking stands, and this is probably going to change because the hosting country always adds names last minute, but at the moment I'm top seed, and yeah, that's, once again, as I mentioned before, it's no easy feat. You have everything to lose and not much to gain in some instances, and I think I have something to prove, and something to prove to myself at least. It's that I still got it. I can still play consistent, strong chess and not make mess-ups with narrow-minded thinking as I've done in this tournament. So yeah, we're ready to come back, I guess. So the rest of it isn't probably much to talk about. My knight gets trapped on the edge of the board here, and she plays really, really well to sort of just keep it advantageous for her. I try some tricks, doesn't really work, but in the end I think I'm just losing this, and I lose to quite a tactic at the end there, and I resigned. I won King of the Hill, but lost the game. I won the fight, but lost the war. Right. So that was round 6 of the Moja Extravaganza, everybody. I'll see you soon for round number 7.